Imagine a world without a single tool. No knife to cut your food, no hammer to build a home, no needle to mend your clothes. Your only tools are your bare hands. This was the reality for our earliest ancestors. For millions of years, survival was a daily struggle, a constant battle against the raw, untamed forces of nature. But then, something incredible happened. A single stone, perhaps dropped by accident, cracked open to reveal a razor-sharp edge. This accidental discovery wasn't just a moment. It was a spark that would ignite the fire of human ingenuity and change our destiny forever. This is the story of how our hands, once simple appendages, became the world's first machines. It all started with a simple observation. An early human, maybe sitting by a river, picks up a rock, perhaps out of frustration, or maybe just idle curiosity. They strike it against another. The rock splits, and a fragment falls away, leaving behind an edge sharper than anything they had ever felt. They run their finger along it carefully. This sharp edge, born from a random act, plants a seed in their mind. What if this edge could do more than just be sharp? What if it could be used? This wasn't a complex thought, not yet. It was a primal connection, a dawning awareness that the world around them wasn't just a static backdrop. It could be altered, shaped, and bent to their will. That broken rock was a key, unlocking a door to a future they couldn't even imagine. This initial observation led to a period of intense experimentation. Our ancestors became the world's first scientists, and the natural world was their laboratory. They began to test everything. Which stones created the sharpest edges? Flint, with its predictable fracture patterns, quickly became a favorite. Which rocks were the strongest? Granite and basalt, dense and durable, proved their worth for heavy-duty tasks. They weren't just banging rocks together anymore. They were learning the properties of different materials. This was a hands-on education in geology and physics. They'd test a new edge on a piece of wood, on an animal hide, or to dig for roots. Each successful cut, each effective strike, reinforced the idea. Each failure taught a valuable lesson. It was a slow, painstaking process of trial and error, carried out over thousands of generations. But, with each experiment, their understanding deepened. The world was no longer just a collection of random objects. It was a toolbox waiting to be opened. Of course, the path of innovation is never smooth. For every successful tool, there were countless failures. An axe head that shattered on the first swing, a knife that dulled after just a few cuts, a scraper that was too brittle to work a hide. These failures were not setbacks. They were crucial data points. Our ancestors realized that just having a sharp edge wasn't enough. The tool had to be designed for its purpose. A hand axe needed weight and a comfortable grip. A cutting flake needed to be thin, but not so thin that it would break. They learned about angles, about impact resistance, about ergonomics. They started to think not just about the tool itself, but how it would be used. They learned to select the best raw materials, traveling miles to find the perfect piece of flint. This process of refinement, of learning from what didn't work, is what truly separates tool-making from a simple accident. It was the birth of engineering. They were no longer just finding sharp rocks. They were designing and manufacturing the future. Through this relentless cycle of observation, experimentation, and learning from failure, mastery was achieved. The clumsy, accidental flakes of stone evolved into a sophisticated toolkit. The hand axe, a versatile, all-in-one tool, became the Swiss Army knife of the Paleolithic era, capable of butchering game, chopping wood, and digging. From this single design, specialization emerged. Long, thin blades became knives for delicate slicing. Heavy, rounded stones attached to sticks became the first hammers, multiplying the force of a blow. Small, sharp points were fashioned into spearheads, revolutionizing hunting and defense. Each new tool opened up new possibilities, new food sources, and new ways of life. This wasn't just an upgrade in technology, it was an upgrade for humanity. These tools allowed our ancestors to hunt larger animals, process food more efficiently, build better shelters, and defend themselves more effectively. Progress was no longer abstract. It was a tangible object you could hold in your hand. An axe, a knife, a hammer, these were the instruments that built the foundation of civilization. And so, we see the profound transformation. The hand, once used for grasping and climbing, became something more. It became the first engine, the prime mover that powered the very first machines. But this engine was useless without its fuel, and that fuel was thought. It was the ability to observe, to question, to experiment, and to imagine something that didn't yet exist. The sharpened stone was more than a tool. It was the physical manifestation of an idea. It proved that the human mind could impose its will upon the physical world. This single leap from accepting nature to reshaping it is arguably the most important step in our entire journey. It set us on a path that would lead from stone axes to smartphones, from fire pits to fusion reactors. The hand became the engine, and thought became its fuel. That fundamental partnership, forged in the Stone Age, continues to drive us forward to this day. The discovery of tools was a game changer, allowing our ancestors to not only survive but to thrive. But once you have tools, what's the next problem you solve? Storing the food you've gathered and the water you've collected. Join us next time as we explore how the need for storage led to another revolutionary invention, the art of pottery, and how shaping clay changed the way humans ate, lived, and built communities. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this exploration of our ancient past, please hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next adventure. We'll see you in the next one.